Now that you've had a chance to see some of the search methods and common tools that we use to find websites, emails, and phone numbers, I'm going to go through and solve a few cases in their entirety, and I'll dictate what I'm doing as I'm going along so that you can follow and see for yourself exactly how it should work. You're going to see that some of these cases have more info, some of them have less info. What I want you to remember the focus is we're not going for speed necessarily, we're going for accuracy. We want the exact information that we're looking for, as it was explained to you earlier in the previous videos, and we really just want to make sure that we're finding the right stuff. So with that said, I'll go through a couple of cases, and then you'll have a chance shortly after that to do the practice sheet on your own. You'll be able to fill in the practice sheet. You'll search for websites, emails, and phone numbers, and then I'll go through and help you out with anything that you may have missed once you've finished it. So with that, let's get started. Let's start with Prestige Watersports. Just another note, by the way, you can see that I marked these rows green. As you're doing the work for real, every row that you finish you should mark green, and that's for me so that I can see where you've gotten up to so far and I can keep track of exactly how far you've worked. It helps me keep track of your pace. I know if we have any future projects coming up, I know how many people I need working on a sheet at a time. It's very important to mark the rows green as you go. So let's get started. Let's start with Prestige Watersports. I'll copy that, paste it into the search bar. I'll copy the guy's name. We're going to look for his LinkedIn first. So as you can see, I got a LinkedIn. What I'm also going to do is open up any other useful pages and leave them on the side for now. We'll check them if we need to. So we'll check out Better Business Bureau. We'll check out Manta. So let's go to his LinkedIn first. First, obviously, let's make sure it's the right guy. Tyrell McKibben, owner Prestige Watersports in Idaho. Tyrell McKibben, Prestige Watersports, Idaho. Okay, good. So now let's start trying to get information from the places we know. Let's see contact info. He has a website, so we'll click that and we'll check it out in a moment. And let's check out Rocket Reach as well. So again, his Rocket Reach has already been checked. Normally there will be some kind of add contact or some kind of blue button here that you'll click, and then these things will show up if there's any search results. So first let's check his email. It's a work email, but it is his personal work email, so we'll still definitely use that if it's valid or if it's catch-all. And it is valid. Okay, great. So we'll put in an email. Now if we can't find a second email, that's fine. One email is enough. Now everything else is secondary. Let's look for another phone number and for a website. So he also had a phone number here, and even though it's a business phone number, as you can see, since it's on LinkedIn, that means it's generally a direct line to him. So if it's different than the phone number that's on the sheet, we'll use it. So let's plug it in, and 2700, 1983, yeah, it's a different phone number. So just from his LinkedIn so far, we found an email and a phone number. And let's check out that website that we found as well. So let's look at the address and see if it matches the address on the sheet. So 2820, 2820, it matches. So technically this case is finished, but for the sake of practice, we'll look for another email just in case there is one. We might be able to find a personal email or something, so let's keep looking a little bit more. The first place we'll check is Better Business Bureau, which you can see doesn't have an email, so we're not even going to bother looking. This little 3 that comes up, that's the actual Better Business Bureau emails that are on the page, so you can ignore those. And let's look at Manta. We already have a website, so we're just going to look and see if Email Hunter finds an email. It doesn't, so we can move on. Before we get to how to find an email through the website, we'll do just a little bit more Googling and see if we can find a Facebook or Yellow Pages. So the best way to do that is to take the address. You want to leave the name of the company, and let's replace his personal name with the address. So you can see here we found a Facebook, and let's scroll down and see if we have a Yellow Pages. If it's not within the first 10 or so results, it's not going to be there. So, okay, let's check out the Facebook and see if that gives us a different email. So we're already in the About section, 2820, 2820, we know it's the right company. And we got a personal email, Chad at Prestige Watersports. Now we already have Tyrell at prestigewatersports.com, but if we hadn't found that yet, we could use a trick. We could copy that, go over to Sales Navigator and plug it in. Now it would give us somebody who we could check out, maybe he's useful, but what you could also do is you can experiment. You can try plugging in the guy's name manually and see if you get a LinkedIn. And here you can see it's the same guy that we had before. We found the owner, absolutely fantastic, just by experimenting with plugging in a different name. That generally will only work with a work email where you can tell the format. Like some jobs only use first name, some use first.last, some use the first initial, a dot, and then last name. So if you can find a different email that shows you an example of how they build their emails, you can experiment like we did here, and you might get lucky and find a LinkedIn. All right, anyways, Facebook showed us its usefulness. There is another way we could try and find a personal email, and that is, of course, through the whois lookup. So you should be familiar with that from seeing it before. You copy the link URL, go to whois, and plug it into the search bar. You might get a CAPTCHA. Chances are you'll get a CAPTCHA, but that's totally fine. Of course, it's giving me the longest one possible. Okay, we should be good. Now, it is GoDaddy, so we don't need to do any further searching looking on a different whois. But if you're not sure how to do that, you can go back to the whois YouTube video and refresh yourself on that. So we're just going to do Control F, email, and it is redacted. You can see that it's domains by proxy, so the guy paid for a privacy service, but it was worth checking just for the practice. Okay, so we finished that case just like that. And again, mark it green. The fastest way to do so, if you already have a green row in front of it, is just do the paint format and format the whole row so that you don't have to go hunting through the paint can and find the exact color. Okay, let's do another one. Innovative document imaging. Let's copy that name, plug it into the search bar, write and take the CEO's name and plug it in. Okay, so here we found a LinkedIn of Marty Tannenbaum, and we're looking for Martin Tannenbaum. So again, you got to use your common sense. Chances are it's the right guy, and we'll probably end up changing his name to Marty. But let's look at any other good resources we got. We got Better Business Bureau here. That seems to be it. So let's look at his LinkedIn. He's the president in Innovative Document Imaging in New York. Innovative Document Imaging, Martin, New Jersey. Okay, now it says Greater New York City area. That often means New York and New Jersey, so it's still fine to use in this case. The first thing that we're going to do is we know his name is Marty, so we're going to use that intel and change it. I see it was already changed here in the sheet, but I'll write it anyways. Change it to Marty. We don't need to write a note, however, because it's the same person, it's just a nickname. Now what we're going to do is the usual. We're going to see contact info. Okay, so he does not have a website. We're going to check Rocket Reach, and we have his email and someone else's email and a phone number. So we're going to ignore the someone else's email, and we're going to take his email and we're going to validate it. Comes back valid. So we'll put that in as our email. And we saw a phone number there as well. So we're going to copy that. And if it's different than the one that's in the sheet, we will use it. And if it's the same, we'll throw it out. So 732-613-717. Okay, it's the same exact phone number. However, in this case, if this is the phone number that LinkedIn gave us, that means it's the very best phone number to reach in. So in that particular case, there's no real need to go to Fast People Search to look for another phone number because this is the best phone number. So all you need to do is just pop that over there. I just do that because now the color is different, so I remind myself later I don't need to look at Fast People Search for a phone number. And his LinkedIn has served its purpose. Let's look at Better Business Bureau. Now, Better Business Bureau did not give us an email this time, but it did give us a website. So we can check that out. It's probably telling me this because I'm using a VPN, which you will probably be using as well. That's fine if you do. Okay. Oh, it still thinks I'm a robot. Okay, well, let's pretend that it didn't think that I was a robot. Obviously, we would pretend that we're on his website. We would check. Let's say that the phone number and the website matched. Boom. We would put his website in as well. Cool. Now, this is actually a good opportunity to show you. Sometimes even if a website is blocked or even if the website isn't working anymore, you could still get some valuable valuable information from the website. There's two ways. One is with Rocket Reach. You can see it's lighting up here. And so it might show you some people that are related to the company. So if we hadn't found Martin's or Marty's LinkedIn, this guy Larry Gaines might be a good backup. So we could click on his LinkedIn and it would show us his profile. But aside from that, we can also take the actual URL, even if the website's not letting us on or if it's not working, and we can run it through Whois search, because if it belongs to someone, there's going to be an email associated with it. So let's go ahead and look that up. And it's taking a moment, but again, it's a GoDaddy, so we're just going to control F email. And we can see we got some guy, J Paredes at ID Image, but we already have the guy we're looking for at ID Image, so there's no need to do anything with this email. So let's move on from that. Okay, we don't need to add and LinkedIn because we already found his LinkedIn. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take the address and we're going to plug it in here and see what we get. Okay, so we've already checked out Better Business Bureau. We've already checked out their website. We're not really seeing anything else that's useful. So it seems we've pretty much exhausted the possibilities of Googling. Of course, you can play around with it a little bit more. You can put in a phone number instead of a website. You can try Googling the email address that we found. The email address that we found, and see if anything related comes up to it. Like you could try Googling this and see if Facebook or something comes up. But I'll leave that up to you to experiment with the little things that you want to try. These are like the broad strokes. I will show you a fast people search. Let's see if we can find a personal email. Let's just get a little practice. I like to start with a phone search because it's just easier than scrolling through a bunch of names. And you can see we got 4 people back, and we know we're looking for Martin Tannenbaum. It also helps when the business that he has is listed there, so that helps us narrow it down if there's multiple of the same name. So let's check him out. Okay, now we already found the best phone number that we're going to find, so there's no need to take another phone number in this case. As far as emails, there's 3 emails here. So the quickest thing to do is just highlight them, go over to Sales Navigator, and check each email one at a time. You can just delete one at a time, and you'll see that it changes here. Okay, this is definitely not the right guy, and nothing connected to this email. Okay, so we checked our emails, we checked our phone numbers, we did our due diligence, and this case is finished. Let's do 1 or 2 more. So CR White Development, let's put that business name, and let's put the CEO's name. Okay, so here, again, you can see we have Christopher, and we found a LinkedIn of Chris White, owner of CR White Development. So let's look at that. And we also found Amanda. So let's take a look at what we have going on here. First, let's check out his LinkedIn. We have the owner, CR White Development in Indiana, and CR White Development, Indiana. Okay, so let's check out contact info. No website. Let's check out Rocket Reach. We did get an email, so we'll copy that and validate. Always validate emails before you put them into the sheet. Okay, put that into the first email column. Another bit of useful information we got is that his nickname's Chris. So we'll change Christopher to Chris. Also, you can see that'll match the email, just like this Marty matches Marty. You always want the name in the email to match the name in the CEO first column. So I think we've exhausted the uses of his LinkedIn. So let's check out Manta. You can see there's no website and no email, so we'll move on. Let's look for a website now. So the way to do that is you take the address, plug it in instead of his name, and it doesn't look like any specific websites came up. This guy might be an older company. His website might not be around anymore. So let's see if we can find a Facebook instead and use that. So let's add and Facebook. And nope, nothing. Okay, so we were able to find an email, which is most important, but we still want to find a phone number and another email if we can, since we weren't really able to find a website. Again, you could try a phone number instead of an address. And it gave us back a website, but you could see it doesn't even have the phone number in there. It doesn't have the exact name that we're looking for, so it's probably not the right website. It's not even worth checking. Oh, but it did. We did find a Facebook from that, so let's look. Let's take a look and see. Oh, okay, it's an older Facebook. This Facebook is pretty much defunct. If you can't find anything else, you could still use a old crap Facebook page like this because it does have the address, and that could be useful for when we need a reference. So you could use it if you absolutely can't find anything else. It's better than nothing. Okay, the last thing that we're going to look at is fast people search and see if we could find a better phone number or more personal email. So again, we'll plug in the phone first, and we found one guy, Carmel, Indiana. To double check that it's actually him, of course, we can look just either at the phone number or email, phone number or address that's in the sheet and compare. So 6116, 6116, okay, and this is the first wireless option. If you recall from the Fast People Search video, the first wireless option should be our first option, and if there's another wireless option, we'll use that as our second option. So we'll put this one in the first, make that the second, and we'll check out his emails as well. The same thing that we did before. We'll just plug on into Sales Navigator. First one doesn't have a LinkedIn. Second one doesn't have a LinkedIn. Third one does not have a LinkedIn. So none of these emails are usable, but we did find a Facebook, one email, and a phone number. So that's pretty good. Let's do one more quick case. It's just something quick that I want to show you with this one. As usual, we'll start off by Googling the business name and the CEO name. And you can see here already we didn't get anything back. No website, no Manta, no Facebook, no LinkedIn, no nothing. Let's try and LinkedIn. And still nothing. So let's try widening the search. Instead of his name, we'll use the state that he's in. He is in Michigan. So let's try and Michigan. We're getting some party stores, but nothing even close to this. So let's try the address and look for a website or Facebook. Okay, we found a white pages, that's useless. Joseph's party store, this yellow pages might be helpful. Okay, we found a Facebook, not really finding much. So first let's look at the yellow pages. When you get a result like this, it's already a bad sign, but we can click on this just to see. 29108, it's not the same. 4380, phone number. Okay, it doesn't have the same information at all, but we can check out the website just to see. Oh, and we can see that it's the same Facebook, pretty much. So, but it's a different address in general, so we're going to get rid of that. This wasn't helpful to us. And let's look at this one, 23201, 23201. So again, we can use this Facebook because we couldn't find anything else. But you can see that pretty much no matter what we Google, we're not going to find much information on this business. And that happens sometimes. And the reason I'm showing you this is because it's okay to see occasionally it'll be very hard or impossible to find anything on these businesses. This business might be out of business for all we know. So the last thing we would do is we would search Fast People Search, and maybe you would get another phone number, and that would be it. And that's okay. Sometimes you don't find an email, or sometimes you don't find a website, or sometimes you don't find a phone number. It happens sometimes. And that's just why we work carefully and meticulously to make sure we try and get as much as we can. But I don't want you to spend too much time on each of these cases. So if you spend 5-10 minutes looking and you can't find something, check all the possible resources that you have at your disposal and you couldn't find anything. It's time to move on. So mark it green and move on to the next one.